Jason, are you talking to us? Because you're muted.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so hello and welcome to the Wednesday, April 17th edition of the Cluster API office hours. We have a relatively light agenda today, so if you have any topics that you want to bring up, please go ahead and add them to the agenda now. I went ahead and linked that in the Zoom chat for folks who are attending live. And also, please make sure to add yourself to the attending list as well. All right. Starting off first today, Hardik has a proposal around management of labels, annotations, and taints. Is Hardik here?
No, I added this for him. He asked me to add it in, just give it for review for the community, and he would like more comments, question, concerns, if there are any, and that's it.
All right, is this something that was targeted for V1 Alpha 1, or is this something for...
I believe this is something that's for the next iteration, given this has been created like 3 days ago, but I don't have much more information than just this document.
All right, my suggestion would be is this probably aligns with the work that the Node Lifecycle Management workstream is going to be doing. So This is probably something that wants to that should be on their radar. Anyway, does anybody else have any other topics before we get into the workstream updates? No. All right, let's get into the workstream updates. Chuck, you're up first with the extension mechanism.
Sure thing. We did the kickoff meeting yesterday. I linked to the notes in the recording. Actually, I think that's a link to the discuss, but you can find the notes in the recording in there. We came up with a document that is going to be a place to put our various proposals for the extension mechanism, as well as pros and cons, and a place to discuss those things. And also, I'm looking for a secondary facilitator for this work stream, as I will not be able to attend every single meeting, and would love someone to be filling in for me if I cannot make it. So if you are interested in that, let me know. You can reach me at Shaw on the Slack or anywhere else. That's it for me, though.
Possibly there would be someone outside of VMware.
Yes, I should add somebody outside of VMware.
Would we have to help?
Awesome. Thanks, Ilya.
Yep. Thank you, Elliot. All right. All right. Next up is the data model with Vince.
Yes, we did have the first kickoff meeting. The second one is going to be for tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll probably go over the same concept, high level, like goals for this work stream. Please do look at the proposal working document and do add your thoughts and question, comment, concern there. One important thing that I did today was to add emoji to every types so that we can quickly index on those. But other than that, the goal is to have like in the next 2 weeks, kind of like a proposal built up and with clear goals for each type and boundaries. And one thing that I also wanted to mention is, folks, before collaborating on the document, please do get some kind of the context with the common docs and useful link on at the top of the document, so that this helps like not repeating things that has already been discussed. That's all I have.
All right.
Question, sorry if I may, very quick. Is there any place in such documents, because I believe I might be adding something that's not would be agreeable to everybody, and yet it seems might be useful in the future. I have a maybe section in the document saying, okay, that's out of focus now, but let's just put it in so that we kind of don't forget it going forward. Do you believe that that might be a good idea, bad idea, agreeable, a completely wrong place and location to do it in, or just something that's just not done? Since I'm a little new to the process, so I just want to make sure that I don't do something stupid.
Sorry, like was the question like around out of scope items?
Like the networking, storage, and so on and so forth, for example, as being examples, and those are a little contentious. So in case though they're not being considered to be part of the core proposal, which is fair enough, I just don't want the concepts to be kind of missed or forgotten, and maybe have additional place or some place to list them so that we don't lose track of them in case, for example, for storage, we don't want to look at it right now, but we might want to come and take a look at it, say, I don't know, like half a year from now.
Log an issue.
Yes, I was saying that, or if it's like related to the types that we already have, down at the bottom, there's an alternative section that we can outline a possible alternative that we have considered. But so far, what we have right now for the types should be like kind of a high level, going into like a little bit more details than like the high level requirements document that we are putting into the repository probably this week. But if we go too much into implementation detail, that like could possibly like touch other work streams that are just starting. So we don't want to go into too many details. And for alternatives, ideas, either an issue, if that's something that we want to discuss, or document, or in the alternative section if it's related to the workstream cap.
Yeah, by all means, it's like I said, I just I feel I sense that I'm probably just not doing it in an acceptable fashion. So I just want to make sure that I correct my ways.
Just thinking, should we? Why not try creating a thread on Discuss for those particular things? I think there's other people who might be interested in the storage or networking bit. So start a thread and see where that goes, and we can do that asynchronously rather than having to do it in a meeting where everyone has to be available.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Just like I said, I didn't want to keep doing on something that's just not being done. Thank
you. Thank you, Michael. And also keep in mind that this is a process that we're building up as we go too. So there really isn't any specific right or wrong way here yet. We're still trying to define the path in general as a community. So. All right. The other two. Oh, I'm sorry.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. The other two work streams, the control plane lifecycle management and the node lifecycle management, haven't met yet. The kickoff meeting for the control plane lifecycle management is Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And the node lifecycle management kickoff is this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
Sorry, I just realized, I mean, isn't Friday holiday in many places?
Yeah, I was about to comment that. Actually, one of the meeting for the add-on, cluster add-on group was canceled because of that. In Europe, most of Europe is holiday. In some part of US also.
Yeah, Friday and Monday is holidays in Europe generally.
All right, Tim, that is your work stream. Any thoughts there?
We could discuss and always just hold any decision making until we get back. I don't. Most of the original conversation was going to be about framing what we want to accomplish and scope boundaries. So, I think if we hold any major discussion until the following week, it seems like just fixing the administrivia first of what are the boundary lines that we're not going to cross, and what are the ones we are going to, seems like a fair game. We don't need to have everybody there. But I do want people to be involved, so I don't want to feel like they're left out. So don't suffer from FOMO. We're not going to make decisions without you.
Oh yeah, no, I just thought that US was on holiday as well.
Nope.
All right. So there is one topic that I'd like to go back to, and that's the goals and requirements PR events. How close do you think we are to being able to get that merged?
So I did another pass yesterday, and I pushed like a few more updates. I also added the work stream in there with like a description of what each work stream goal is. I think it should probably be merged this week, or like should get ready, unless there is any last minute comments on it.
I think timeout for today seems reasonable. It's been there for a while, and plenty of folks have commented.
Yeah, I was going to suggest the same. If anybody wants to do a last pass on it, please do. If there are no issues, then we can look to try to get it merged end of day today.
And there is also the PR for use cases, which I opened, I think, yesterday. So please also look at that one. It's meant to be as a staging place for the use cases and a reference for what we discussed and we have in the document. So also feel free to PR against the requirements and the use cases after they get merged to iterate on.
Just a small technical question about Discuss. Could we discuss that? Like general, how we're gonna use Discuss, because that seems to concern all work streams.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a little while now to figure out where to go. I did find Cluster API eventually from the Discuss front page, but once I'm there, I'm kind of wondering, can I subscribe to things, for example? Because we switched away from the mailing list, and the mailing list, the kind of mode of communication is that you get notified of new posts right away. And here I'm not entirely sure how I can do that. Obviously, I do have a Discuss account, but I'm not entirely sure how to subscribe to everything about Cluster API, for example.
So Ilya, I posted something in the Slack channel. I found it in Discuss. It explains how to configure email settings for Discuss. I don't know enough about it, but what I did is I set up filters. So this is something I think we should document this, because people are going to have this problem in general.
Sure. Thanks. I'll have a look at setting up filters.
One thing I will say is that I tried mailing list mode on Discuss, and it basically turned on notifications for everything regardless of topic. So you probably don't want to use that. What I did do was I enabled the checkbox to send email even if you are active on the site. And that way, when you sit there and subscribe to a particular topic, you will still get the email as if it was an email list that's, just for that topic. And
one of the last thing I wanted to note about Discuss is that it's not necessarily we're not necessarily moving away from the mailing list Google Groups. This is to have an additional method for example, users in China that don't have access to Google Groups. So we're trying to replicate the communication in both places instead of setting for one, because people are used to Google Group. So longer term, we will be able to move maybe.
What do you mean by replicate?
So one example is the meeting notes that we have in Google Doc. Those are not accessible in China. So after each meeting and the recording is posted, I'm also posting the notes and the recording on Disqus. Also, any communication that, for example, the data model workstream sent that I personally sent to the mailing list, I also duplicated the same communication in Disqus, so to keep both places updated at the same time. It's not ideal, but it's just community effort.
I think it's terrible and not ideal. Anyway, maybe we could just consider other options in the future. Like, I mean, as in, could we just have the notes in Disqus to begin with? Or something like that, you know? I mean, more to be discussed, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. I think we can continue to iterate on our processes as we go. I do see Pablo has a new topic up there, or has a new agenda item on how to handle contentious topics.
Yeah, based on the previous comment regarding some topics like the storage and stuff, in the requirement there has been also some contentious topics where we probably don't have a agreement. I feel that probably instead of because I think it's important to move forward, agree on that, so we should merge these the requirements and the use cases, but in both are some topics. Could probably these topics make an issue and make a second round of discussion instead of blocking the whole document. Probably because our issues are very specific topics. I mean, it's not something that prevents us to move forward as a whole, but probably some people don't feel comfortable because they're still trying to discuss. We say, okay, but we need to move forward. Probably we don't need to do either way. I mean, we can say this one after we can now arrive to a conclusion in a short term. We can just say, okay, let's park this as a separate discussion, so we can move forward and still have the chance to keep on discussing. Because otherwise, it's like we already discussed that. Well, yeah, we discussed, but we didn't arrive to a conclusion. So it's something between. I expect that to happen a lot with the data model. The data model is going to be extremely contentious because the first meeting was obvious. There are many ideas on the table, and probably we need to start moving forward. What is not we have a minimum agreement without forcing agreements just because we want to move forward. That's the problem with something we could mix both approaches.
So, it's not like Kubernetes doesn't have this problem. KK itself, the answer is we just leave and set lifecycle to frozen as issues and topics, and we revisit them continually. So it's totally legitimate to have an idea, but maybe its time is not right. And we just want to keep it open. So the lifecycle frozen gives it so that the bots don't automatically close those issues. And there still were, after 4 years, issues in the Kubernetes days from the original 100 to the 10s series still open. So it's common for us to have ideas, but maybe the timing isn't right, or maybe the model isn't as mature as we would like it to be for us to make certain changes, or maybe there's just not consensus on where we want to go. So I think opening the issue to have the discussion, or using an issue as a way to frame the conversation, and then bring that to the meetings, right?
I agree. The point here is that I'm sorry, Michael. Just briefly, is that in that case, it's important that probably something that is not introduced, for instance, by me. I mean, it's easier if, for instance, Michael has mentioned before something his particular interest, and he can make the issue. But there are some stuff, some item in the discussion that probably were introduced by another person, and I know we can arrive to a procedure to do that, but it's like at some point we should like discuss this topic has been discussed for some time, probably move out without being the person that introduced it. It's like a decision of the group. I think that's slightly different than when someone introduces a new issue on what is already being agreed on. But I agree that I suppose this happens all around.
The other thing too is this is one of the reasons why we had the Discuss Forum set up, so that we can take some of these topics and dive into more detail on them and have some conversation back and forth on them without them kind of eating up the meeting time, requiring everybody to show up at the same time for a meeting, or trying to handle it through comments in the docs or things like that. So we should definitely bring some of those topics out, have some discussion around them.
So, so the consensus is that, if I understand it correctly, is that it is preferable to use the discuss topics rather than Slack. Slack is more like for more intermediate questions, answers, sort of, so to speak, right? Okay, understood. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep. And a big reason why we don't want to have those conversations in Slack is we don't want decisions necessarily being made based on who's available at the time. We want to be able to involve the entire community with making decisions. So, you know, the mailing list, discuss those types of things, provide better asynchronous communication to have those discussions and be inclusive versus just a small group of people that happen to be there at the time making decisions around those things.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. And yes, okay. Whoever added the PR to update Cluster API admins and owners, thank you very much. We do have a PR out there to remove some of the old participants that are no longer around, to add myself to the Cluster API maintainers and admins, also update the security contacts. And we also have a second PR out there, if somebody can dig it up, to add David to the owners to be able to manage the documentation as well. So these have both been out there for roughly a week now. So I think unless there are any objections that get raised on those, on either of those issues before the end of the day, then we can probably go ahead and combine the two and get those merged. Any other topics from folks? No. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.